On Tuesday coming, as you probably know if you've been listening to the radio today, Keir Starmer will give a keynote speech. It's his first as Prime Minister. And fundamentally, he's saying it's going to get worse before it gets better. He will continue Labour's attacks on the previous Tory government, saying the situation is worse than we ever imagined, as Labour has inherited not just an economic black hole, but a societal black hole as well. He will say, because obviously a lot of this has been leaked already, in the first few weeks we discovered a £22 billion black hole in the public finances, and don't let anyone say that this is performative or playing politics. You, by the way, may or may not agree. The OBR, the Office for Budget Responsibility, I'm reading the words out here, I'm quoting from what he will say, did not know about this. They wrote a letter saying so. They didn't know because the last government hid it. OK. So how about we have a think? And you may think that it is actually performative politics, and that might reduce your marks out of 10 for the Labour government so far. That's what I want. I want you to give me a ring, 0345 6060 973, or WhatsApp me on that number as well. Or message me on 84850 with your midterm school report for Sir Keir Starmer and his Labour government. So, let's have a think about what we would say to him. And as the kids are going back to school very shortly, that's why I've kind of done it as a school report. You're allowed to split it between the sections. Here's a reminder of some and only some of the big headlines of the last 7 weeks. Pay to teachers and to nurses up 5.5%. ASLEF and the pay rises currently standing at an offer of backdated pay rises of 5% for 2022, 4.75% for 2023, and a 4.5% increase for 2024. Then ASLEF has said not good enough. We've got 3 months of walkouts. Angela Rayner announced increases in housing plans, the introduction of the greyfield sites. Junior doctors agreed there 22%. The handling of the riots, I want your thoughts on that. Sentencing, the prisons are full, more detail to come on that. We are going to talk about the winter fuel payments as a whole hour coming up at 4 because it's a big subject and one which is creating a lot of extreme views on this. I was shocked when I heard it. We'll come on to that. We'll bring it into this hour, but we're specifically going to talk about that from 4 o'clock for an hour. What about, though, in your school report for Labour so far, Yvette Cooper and her statements about extreme misogyny to be classified as extremism? Is that a good thing or not? So, in the first week, back in July, it seems like forever ago, doesn't it? They cancelled the Rwanda plan. I'm just giving you my thoughts here. Tick, which had cost and wasted £700 million. For me, that was a tick. What about you? Starmer said he wants a closer relationship with Europe. Tick. Wes Streeting announced a meeting with the British Dentistry Association to discuss Labour's promise for around about 750,000 urgent appointments. Tick. That was all going very well. Then we heard the announcement that the Tories, according to Labour, had lied about the finances. Well, that was no surprise to me. Then, of course, we had the riots, something which has shown Britain's other face to the world. Unbelievable and scandalous scenes. We all know the details. Many internationally believe we still live in a world likened to Downton Abbey, and how false that image is. Anyway, I want to know. Give me a ring now. I want to get to the phone lines as soon as possible. 0345 6060 973. Ring in now with your school report for Labour so far. Right, this is mine. I'm going to put on my best teacher's voice here. OK. School report for Keir Starmer. Young Starmer started well as class prefect. His essay on immigration earned him a grade A. However, his sociology studies seem lacking in places, particularly when it comes to his elders and their situation. The module on decisions between heating and eating seemed to have evaded him. Maths is reasonable, but work on negative and imaginary numbers will need close attention. He gets on well with the class except for the usual suspects. He has pleased many in his teamwork but alienated others. All in all, he has the ability to become a strong class leader and take people with him, but needs to work harder in how he expresses this to others. Signed off by class teacher Miss Carol Vorderman. Right, she gives Sir Keir Starmer a grade B. Marks out of 10 so far, a 5 to 6. However, the last prefect was a 2, so Starmer has improved on matters, but a long, long way to go. Do you agree with my midterm school report for the first 100 days of the Labour government? Ring me now, 0345 6060 973, or message me, 84850. Marks out of 10. Right, we're going straight to a new caller. Hello, Steve. Welcome to LBC. Ringing in from Sidcup.
Hello, thank you. Nice to talk to you.
And you too, Steve. What about this? So we're kind of halfway through, this midterm, really, of the first 100 days of Labour. Some things I've agreed with, as you can probably tell, and some things I've been quite shocked by. What about you?
Yeah, I'm concerned about the winter fuel payment. I work with a lot of old people.
Yeah.
And I know that they're really concerned about losing the payment.
I'm not surprised by that, Steve. And is that obviously a lot has happened in the last 7 weeks. We've had the riots, we've seen, terrible scenes and heard about terrible things. And Labour has come in with a lot of policy decisions. But is that your overriding concern above all others?
As an ex-police officer, I'm impressed with the way that the justice system has dealt with it. But I know a lot of older people are really, really concerned and scared.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised about that. We are going to come on and talk about that from 4 o'clock. I was shocked, Steve, and I will repeat this from 4 o'clock. I understand, obviously, as I'm sure you do, that there are many pensioners who don't need that, the wealthier ones, for instance. But
yeah, I'm actually one of those. I mean, I donated mine to charity, and my wife's, before she passed away 4 weeks ago, that was donated as well.
Yeah. And that's wonderful that you did that. But I think they went too low on it. In terms of, it's about 11.5 million down to about 1.5 million who can now get it. I think it was way, way, way too low.
Yeah, I totally agree. So doing welfare stuff with ex-police pensioners, it's scary.
It is scary, Steve. By all means, ring in the next hour. I'm going to talk specifically about the winter fuel allowances and that cropping of the payments. But thank you very much for ringing in. That's Steve, who's a new caller. If you are a new caller, don't be frightened to ring in, 0345 6060 973, or message me. We've got lots of calls coming in on 84850. You're listening to Carol Vorderman. In this hour, I want you to give me your marks out of 10 for the first 50-ish days of our new Labour government.